future of TV news, as I understood, is quite bright.
I think it is. I said earlier, to Eva, that I really appreciated that the conference spent so much time on it, because in many ways, social particularly is actually a natural fit for news, and actually audience behaviour is pulling us into that technological environment in a way that other content genres, I think, aren't impacted in the same way. They can control their environment much more. But I think that's part of the brilliance of working in news. I think it does make the news business a bit more than a job. I think everybody in it is very passionate, and at times it can make it feel quite exhausting. But I think broadly, we only see opportunity in new platforms. I think the bigger part is how do we make the most of those opportunities, and how do we monetize them. So God alone knows there's always going to be questions about the future. So equipping ourselves flexibly and engineering ourselves for flexibility, I think, is the right way to go.
Do you think that people will never totally switch from TV to watching news online?
My sense is not. I think the definition of what we think of as a television, which is a big screen in the corner of a room, probably needs to change, because in my household that TV is now connected to the internet.
Of course.
And although I don't like it very much, and I find it difficult to navigate, my 12 and 14-year-old sons find it effortless. And they don't really mind if quality isn't great, and they don't really mind if it's on a tiny screen,
right,
in a way that I do. But I think that, with one or two exceptions, most media have survived the last 100 years. So, for example, in the US, talk radio is very vibrant.
Right.
Talk radio is very strong in the UK. In other markets like India, radio has really suffered from television. But I think that these outlets will continue to exist alongside one another. I think the challenge for people in the news business is how do you make that work economically,
right,
and how do you take advantage of the different platforms. So, for example, mobile inevitably is probably going to be a headline-driven service. Short pieces of data, big impact. I may only have a 3 or 4 minute cycle.
Right.
And I think conversely, television, I think, will continue to be, for the majority of people, more of a sit-back experience, and where watching a longer bulletin and fantastic televisual images from around the world is still a real strength of that medium. So I think I don't see, there are going to be small trends around that, but I see them all coexisting alongside one another. Understanding how audiences move between them, though, I think is still a bit of a holy grail. I don't think we know enough about that yet.
Still learning, because it's still...
Absolutely.
And it's developing on a daily basis.
Absolutely developing on a daily basis. And some markets I very briefly referenced, we're seeing the biggest single city. I'm going to ask you to guess, where do you think the biggest city is for our Facebook fans for BBC World News?
The biggest city?
Yeah, the biggest single centre for Facebook usage of BBC News.
Delhi?
It's Lagos, Nigeria.
Really?
Yeah, so you're not doing badly, but you've got a market that's gone mobile first, actually.
Right.
And so they've jumped over the pay TV wave, they've got mobile, there are people investing in 3 and 4G technology, and that extra bandwidth gives them the most access to everything. And so that's probably in a lot of people's minds a third world market, very much behaving like a first world market for television. So I think there's huge opportunity in that, but I think always the generalizations that we may be able to make in the linear world when there's just one product, we need to find a way of getting away from those,
right,
and thinking more creatively about the opportunities of new media in different markets. But you're right, everything's changing, right?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.